قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, فليس الإنسان مجبورا, the human being is not forced to do what he does. لأن الجبر ينافي التكليف, because compulsion in actions negates accountability. وهذا هو المذهب الحق, this is the right way. وهو خارج عن الجبر والقدر, it is different from both the way of believing that the human is compelled to act and believing that the human makes his own destiny. A madhhab al-jabriyyah wal-qadariyah, meaning the way of the jabriyah, those who believe that the human is compelled, they deny created choice and created will, and those who believe that humans make their own destiny, they believe that they create their own actions. Ash-SharH, the explanation. Al-insanu laysa majbura, the human being is not compelled to act. لأنه لو كان مجبورا لم يكن مكلفا, because had he been compelled to act, then he would not be accountable. والمجبور هو من لا اختيار له, the compelled one is the one who doesn't have a choice. يعنون بالمجبور أن يكون مثل الريشة المعلقة في الهواء, and what they mean by being forced or compelled or coerced is being like a feather stuck in the wind. تأخذه الرياح يمنة ويسرة, being taken by the wind right and left. من غير اختيار لها في ذلك, without that feather having any choice in that. فلو كان العبد مثل هذه الريشة, so had the slave been like this feather, لم يؤمر بالأوامر, he wouldn't be commanded, he wouldn't be given commands. ولم ينهى عن المناهي, and he would not have been forbidden from things. والمعتزلة والجبرية طائفتان متباينتان, and the Mu'tazila, they are the Qadariyya, they believe that humans create their own deeds and make their own destiny. And the Jabriyah, those who deny created will and created choice, they are two conflicting sects. Tabayunan shadida, they are in direct contradiction with each other. فالجبرية تقول العبد مجبور, the Jabriyah, and who are those, by the way, the Jabriyah? Does anyone know what sect subscribes to this conviction of Jabr? Who are the Jabriyah? Who are the Qadariyah? The Qadariyah are the Mu'tazila. Who are the Jabriyah? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Jabriyah are the Jahmiyah, the Jahmites, the followers of Jahm ibn al-Safwan. They are the Jabriyah. And some Murji'ah take that way also. Taqulu al-abdu majbur, they say that the slave is compelled, coerced. كالريشة المعلقة في الهواء, like a feather stuck in the air. والمعتزلة تقول العبد يخلق أعمال نفسه استقلالا, and the Mu'tazila, they say that the slave creates his own actions independently. بقدرة خلقها الله فيه, he does that, according to them, by a power that Allah created within him. وأهل السنة لا من هؤلاء ولا من هؤلاء, and the people of the prophetic way are neither from that group or this group. They are from neither group. بل هم وسط بين الاثنين, rather the people of the prophetic way are in the middle between the two. neither believing that the slaves create their own deeds, nor believing that the slaves are coerced to do their voluntary deeds. It's not possible to be coerced to do a voluntary deed, because coerced means not voluntary. So the Jabriya don't believe in voluntary deeds. Ahlu Sunnah يقولون الإنسان لما يقدم على الشيء باختياره. The people of the prophetic way, they say, the human being, when he engages in something, by his choice, بميله, meaning by his inclination, by his wanting to, فهو مختار ظاهرا, he is outwardly and apparently a choosing being. لكن إن نظرنا إلى أن الله علم منه أنه سيفعل هذا الفعل. But if we investigated the fact that Allah knew about the slave that he would do this act, الذي هو طاعة أو غيرها, this act which is an act of obedience or otherwise, فلا بد أن يفعله, then it is inescapable that he would do it. لأن علم الله لا يتغير, because the knowledge of God does not change. فإذا نظرنا إلى هذا المعنى, so if we look from this perspective, نجد العباد مختارين ظاهرا, we do find the slaves are outwardly choosing مجبورين باطنا, but inwardly they are compelled. Meaning that they shall do what is destined. So what do you do then? You can't create anything, and you're going to do what's destined for you. So what's your best course of action? And I remind myself, always choose what is better. Remember, at any moment in time, when you have to make a choice, you say, at this moment is the choice I'm going to make. This is the choice that was destined for me. Whether it's the right choice or the wrong choice, it's the choice that I was always going to make. So I am now going to make the best choice. I choose this. Then that's your destiny. That's what you always would have chosen. Now, so that's the case there. This is from the creating of Allah Ta'ala. This is proof that Allah creates whatever He wills. Allah says, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ, and in yourselves there are signs. Yani, it's like we're stuck. You're going to just do whatever was willed for us to do. That's true. Yani, what happened with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's what always was going to happen. That was destiny. And what happened with Adam, etc., and what's going to happen in the future, and in paradise and in hell, that's destiny. But it's not a negation that still we do choose, because we witness that, we see that. Even in the animals, Allah is so wise. He created those animals, they don't have minds. And He made them proof for us too. When we look at them, we see that they move by a choice. So it's fused, it's mixed. Outwardly, we do choose. And inwardly, we're only going to choose what we would always choose. We're going to choose what we always would choose. That which is destined for us. Yani, we're going to choose what we're bound for. But you don't know what you're bound for. So what do? Make the best choice. That's what those awliya, that's part of why those walis were so genius. They were such geniuses that every single time they had to make a choice, they made the right choice. Or like 99% of the time, so that they became awliya. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. So, Al-ibadu mukhtarun ikhtiyaran mamzujan bijabr. The slaves are choosing beings. They choose with a choice that is fused with compulsion. Yani, we are forced to choose. We are compelled to choose. فالإنسان له اختيار تابع لمشيئة الله. And so the human being has a choice that is compliant to the will of God. مختار تحت مشيئة الله. He is a chooser under the will of God. ويقال العبد مختار لا مجبور في الأعمال التكليفية. And it is correct to say that the slave is a choosing being, and he is not compelled concerning deeds of accountability, deeds of responsibility. Whatever he's responsible for, then he's not forced in that regard. Really, when one thinks well, he knows that the element that we confess to, the element of compulsion that we confess to, it's not something that we can take as a proof, as an argument for ourselves. It's not something that we can plea by. That's why there's paradise and there's hell. Those who go to hell, they're going to go by what they chose for themselves and what they deserve. And those who enter the garden, they're going to go by what they chose for themselves and what they deserve. ولا تقال هذه العبارة التي شاعت بين العوام. And this expression that became spread amongst commoners should not be said. العبد مسير أو مخير. They say the abd, the slave, is مسير أو مخير. They think that means the slave is forced or choosing. Shaykh says this should not be said, this wording here. Al-abdu musayyarun or mukhayyar. This is particular to Arabic language here. لأن الاختيار والتيسير ليس معنيين متقابلين. Because being musayyar is not contrary to being mukhayyar. It's just that they don't know what musayyar really means, so they're saying something wrong. بل يجتمعان. Rather, they could both be true. They're saying it as if it's one or the other, but they could both be true. العبد له اختيار. العبد له اختيار. The slave, he has a choice. He is mukhayyar. He's given a choice, made to choose. ومسير, and he is enabled to move about. That's the meaning of musayyar. أي يمكنه الله من السير. It means Allah Ta'ala enables him to move about. So that's the meaning of being musayyar. So there's no conflict between being musayyar and mukhayyar. Why they wanted to say that? Because number one, they didn't know what musayyar really means. And number two, because it rhymes. So, and that's what happens sometimes when you're a commoner. We are commoners, mashallah, but some of the commoners have less knowledge than others. Commoner, yani layman. Some laymen are more ignorant than others. What تسيير علي sorry. قال الله تعالى, Allah the Exalted says, هو الذي يسيركم في البر والبحر. He it is who enables you to move about on land and at sea. That's the 22nd ayah of Surah Yunus. The ayah is literally saying he is the one who made you musayyar. Yusayyirukum, he makes you musayyar. هذه العبارة التي يلهج بها العوام. This is the expression that some commoners are fond of. وبعض من يدعي العلم. And this expression is even said by some who claim knowledge. Fasida. It is corrupt. Lughatan. Linguistically, it is a corrupted statement. ومخالفة للشرع. And it's against the religious law. وهي شائعة بين العوام وأشباه العلماء. It is something spread amongst the commoners and some people who seem to be scholars. That's why you should really always know what it is you are saying. Don't say something because people say it. Contemplate on the meanings of what you say. Like, there's a saying some people say. They say this issue, I could care less. So in my own mind, I say, how does that make sense? Don't you want to say, I could not care less? I care so little about this that I couldn't care less about it. That's how little I care about it. Isn't that what they really want to say? So if they say, I could care less, wouldn't that mean I have some amount of concern and I could care less than what I do? That's what it seems to mean to me. That's why I wouldn't say that. So you think about the meanings of things that you say. Don't say them just because people say them. You might feel compelled to say something because people say it. Don't say something just because people say it. Think about the meaning of what you are saying. And think twice before you are just someone who does what people do. Don't just do something because people do it.